chew bubblegum, recorded from a secret location in the city that moves mountains.
Greetings.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum, baby.
Ramen says, hello, mate. I got to use this UK accent now since we had Russ last week.
Oh man, that was terrible. No, I'm just joking.
As Charles Barkley said, it's terrible.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. You're totally fine, man. How's everybody doing this week?
Doing good, man. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. What about you, Dirty Dan?
You know, just happily sitting on a tractor trying to fix a massive driveway from all this wonderful, not normal or natural weather we've had. You know,
that sounds like a lot of fun.
I mean, she thinks my tractor's sexy, so.
Okay. Have you heard, and this will be airing, I guess, after the event, but there's a possibility on February 13th, we may be getting 12 to 16 inches of snow in our state. That is what a guy with the highway department told me earlier this morning. And, today's February 7th was when we're recording this show. But that is what he said, and I said, well, I hope that they miss it again. And he said, I do too, because it should start warming up after Valentine's Day.
That is incredibly frustrating to hear.
It's very frustrating, very frustrating. I'm not a fan of snow. Simon, we'll let you get started first this week with listener email.
Well, actually, man, we got email. I got my first email from a listener.
Congratulations.
I'm not gonna say their name. I'm not sure if they want me to use their name, but this is what they said. I took a picture of a deer and noticed two ape-like creatures in the background and wanted you to check them out. And in the picture, man, you can see like an ape-like shadow, like next to a tree and stuff. And it had like red glowing eyes and stuff. It was, you should check that out. I'll send you the picture, Goose.
Yeah, definitely send that to us. Where was it taken at? Can you tell us that?
I believe Prestonsburg.
Wow, that's not far away at all. Sounds like we might have to go on a Bigfoot hunt.
Daniel, I'm right here.
Well,
Or feet.
Yeah, big feet. Now, if Dirty Dan went on a Bigfoot hunt, that would be like him hunting for his family members.
Yeah.
We can't have that, though.
No, not at all.
So we'll call it a Bigfoot scouting adventure.
Well, hey, that sounds good to me. Steven says, hello, I'm from Magoffin County, Kentucky, and recently heard this show on my local station. I must say that I was impressed. I never knew that we had people from our state and area that I'm from interested in the same things that I am. I went to your website and found your podcast show on iTunes. As a local trucker, I really enjoy listening during my workday. Thank you so much, and Roswell. Thank you very much, Steven, for writing in. And we may have a big announcement without mentioning any particular stations, call letters. We don't want to do that right now. But we are on some extra stations right now, and hopefully that will continue. I think we're on a total right now of maybe 6 stations at this present time. And I've not got a chance to tell you about all this yet, Dirty Dan. I'll tell you about that off the air and so forth. But we really do appreciate our new listeners, and, thank you very much for writing in. We definitely appreciate that.
Heck yeah. And as a heavy-duty truck mechanic?
What was that, Simon?
I said, ain't Morgan County one of them?
Yes, it is. That is one of the counties as well.
I guess we're finding that out on the air, too. All right. So next email is from Quentin, and he writes, this email is for Dirty Dan. You've talked about living in Pennsylvania on the show. When and how did you find yourself in Kentucky?
He got lost.
I moving from Knoxville, Tennessee, the Morristown area, found myself in Kentucky as a youngin, several times in a short span of time, because that trip comes right through Kentucky. And I loved it. And then my second truck I ever bought was out of Kentucky. So I was back down in the Bowling Green area for that. And then a couple of years later, I bought a dually out at East Bernstadt, and it was February 1st, 2010. And I vowed that one day I would move back here.
So you
move
just
here.
you just basically fell in love with the area, correct?
Yes.
Good.
And from the diesel scene, and then I married a horse girl, and Kentucky horses and diesels.
There you go. And we're also known for bourbon as well. So
I will throw some of that down.
okay. Simon, do you want to go back up at the first there and read the one from last name Sloan?
I'm a single barrel kind of guy.
Well, okay.
This is from last name Sloan. Last name Sloan. I wanted to say that I really enjoyed the show last week. Keep the information and ear candy coming, Roswell. Thank you for that email.
Thank you very much for that. And we will be discussing in segment one. We'll be giving our thoughts on our guest from last week. And Simon, I want you to thank our friend Seth Ambergy for setting that interview up for us with Mr. Russ Collette. That hour went by so fast when we were talking to him. And we'll be talking about that just a little bit more later on in the show. I'll go ahead and take the next email. It's from Reed. He says, hey, here to chew bubblegum. I wanted to write in and hope that you read this on the radio show and remind everyone to be kind and always try to pay it forward. If you can ever help anyone, I ask that you please do, because you may be the only person that does. Live each day without regret, and always tell the ones that you love them how much they mean to you, Roswell. Thank you very much, Reed, for writing in, and keep the positivity emails coming, and we'll definitely pass that along to people. And I love to get emails from all of our listeners. I love Reed's. I love Dixon 09's. I love Bowling Cox on the podcast show.
Yes.
And Obi of the Strange from Africa writes in every so often.
And Tao, his friend now.
Yes, Tao. And when I was going back and listening to the show yesterday, I think I called him Ta or something like that. So T-A-U, Tao. So very good, very good. Dirty Dan, do you want to take the last one? Then we'll let Simon close us out.
Yeah, so we got Benjamin writing in. It says, salutations. What do you guys think will be the next big gadget this year?
No, we actually, I think we talked about this on the podcast show yesterday. Dirty Dan, I'll let you go first with that.
We must have talked about it when I was on the Tiny Psycho.
Yes, we did.
Honestly, I'm kind of torn about this one because there's some neat innovations that are kind of being R&D'd right now in the tool world, but it's not like a everyday person kind of gadget. I'm assuming it's going to be for that something along with like smartphones or tablets or something, just some sort of piece to go along with it.
Well, actually, what I said yesterday on the podcast show was if Tesla gets, supposedly it's supposed to come out this year, maybe next year, their new iPhone. Not iPhone, their new mobile device. Yes. And I've been doing some research on this, and you're supposed to be able, I know I'm from the South. You're supposed to be able to, it's like let's say you were at home and you wanted to watch stuff on your phone and you could project it on the wall. And, just several different features. I'm really excited about the Tesla mobile device. And I
think with everything Tesla, if it's told it's coming out this year, it'll be next year.
Yeah. Other than the Razr flip phone, which was my all-time favorite phone. And, but when I got on the iPhones, I guess 12 years ago, I've always been an iPhone guy. But I'm looking forward to checking out the Tesla mobile device. Simon, what do you think the next big tech gadget will be?
I think the next biggest thing, man, is going to be Starlink satellite internet, man. I know there's other satellite internet companies, but Starlink is closer to the Earth than the other satellite internets out there.
Really? I didn't know it was closer.
Starlink is actually got a potential customer among us right now.
Oh, yeah. You
kick off.
Or customers.
Well, you may have 3 there, so that may be trying that out.
It's Elon, so because I'm in that fly zone with the munitions depot, so he's got to have some sort of way around of knowing how to beam the signal in Scotty, because I'll tell you what, this other satellite internet sure the heck don't.
Not to get off subject, but I was watching a video on it was on TikTok. It was earlier this morning when I was finishing up at the gym, and I was actually cooling down on the treadmill and so forth. And
It's not that hard to eat chicken nuggets, Goose.
Okay, but I like that. In this video, it was talking about how, and we've talked before about the secret planes that take off from Nevada. And the Las Vegas airport and fly out to Area 51. And there's another one, and this is not affiliated with that particular airline. I think Janet Airline was the name of the ones that take people from Las Vegas to Roswell. There's one that after it takes off, it disappears from radar. And
they turn the tracker off.
No, they're supposedly it's like this big secret, and like it was blacked out in the video, and I mean it was just. And I'm going to do some more investigation, research on that plane, and see if I can find out some more stuff.
When I went to Vegas with my family, we went to Nellis Air Force Base. And it was actually on a training day for the Thunderbirds. Yeah. So I got to do some stuff that not many people get to do. And when we were at the airport, there was a black, it looked like a spray bombed matte black 727. Mm-hmm. And this is the time where pretty much all 727s were phased out. There was just a couple remaining. And my dad being the ex-Air Force and a plane buff. Right. I said, Dad, why does that plane look different? And that's the only time I've seen that man stumped. I don't think he ever figured it out. And it took off in that general direction. When we were at Nellis, we then saw it. Right. And wow. And he had never saw one of those before, huh? So my dad was a missile air commander. So he spent most of his time underground. His eyesight was too bad to be a pilot. So he went to just making things go in the air instead of taking things in the air. And but he sat there when we went to Dayton, the Wright Pat Air Force Museum 2 years ago. My dad was the tour guide. He was telling you about all that. Well, that just cool. People in general. That is people cool. In general. Like they'd be sitting there and he'd start talking to me, and then they'd hear him talking. So then they'd start coming over, and I don't know if they thought he was a tour guide or what, but they just stand around me, and then we'd all be listening to him. And then they finally built the missile silo part of the museum, and the actual control room they have there was one my dad spent about 7 years in. And the guy who was the tour guide had no idea what he's talking about. My dad just took over, and everybody just like shoehorned the tour guide out of there. And I just listened to my dad talk to like 30 random people about it for about an hour. Wow. So that is definitely cool. Simon, do you want to read the last email there? I think it's from Lana, or Lana, ever how you pronounce it.
Yeah, this is from here in Eastern Kentucky. We'll just say Lana.
There you go.
Lana, yeah. Hello, my name is Lana. I'm listening to both shows online. This may have been asked before, and if so, please excuse me, but how long does it take to put a show together, Roswell? Thank you for that email.
Normally, we work on it all week. Putting it together. We email back and forth about what we're going to talk about, and, emails and so forth. The show that came out today took several weeks in the making for my part. There you go. Of talking to people. So, when we have bigger shows, obviously it depends on how many people and what the content's going to be, where it can take several weeks. And definitely. Then, sometimes it's hey, we got to record, and 20 minutes later we're doing it. Yeah, definitely. I want to thank everyone for sending in their emails. Remember, you can always call, text, or leave a voicemail. If you do want it played on the radio show, your voicemail, please keep it clean, or just leave your number and we may call you back when we are recording the radio show. The number to do that is area code 606-373-3396. Again, 606-373-3396. Dirty Dan, how can they email us, my friend? Well, they can email Goose at here to chewbubblegum.com,
Dirtydan at here2chewbubblegum.com or Simon at here2chewbubblegum.com. You can email into the show, Ned or Elliot at here2chewbubblegum at yahoo.com.
You are correct. So in segment one, we're going to talk about our thoughts on last week's guest, Russ Collette from the UK, the author of E.T. Rider and what was the British Alien Invasion Whales. Simon, we'll start out with you. What did you think about the interview last week?
Man, knowing Russ and stuff for about 6 or 7 months, man, the dude is very knowledgeable and he's very credible, man. And from what I get from him, he's not telling any lies and stuff. I find him very credible on everything he says, and he's not happy about it. I mean, he's sick, taking medicine every day. He's not winning nothing from telling the story. He's actually, like, people were calling him crazy and everything, man. So actually, he's getting a lot of bad feedback for telling just his story and stuff, man. So,
and I hate that. I hate that people, ridicule people. I mean, first, it's wrong to be a bully in this world, period. If you don't agree with somebody, that's fine. You don't have to ridicule them and make fun of them. Second, I was enthralled just by, listening to his stories that he had, and he explained them in depth. And like you said, Simon, he was just a wealth of knowledge, and I definitely want to have him back on the show. I definitely want to have him on the podcast show. Yeah. Definitely, we're going to have him on the podcast show. And, because we just had an hour with him, and I think there's so much that we didn't get to ask or that he didn't get to say. Well,
and just the podcast for having the complete explicit raw version of it.
Yeah, definitely. And when I asked him about the singer, what was it, Robbie Williams, was that the singer's name?
Yeah.
He didn't really say a whole lot about that. He just, I'm not saying that he skirted around it, but
I think what I just said of why I want him on the podcast probably plays a direct role in that.
In that, probably. But I thought it was really cool that when the media asked Robbie Williams about that, he never denied it. He just had no comment. And right. To me, I try to have an open mind in everything. Do I believe everything that people see in the sky is an unidentified flying object? Do I think time travel is possible? Do I think the Loch Ness Monster exists? I used to think the Loch Ness Monster exists, and it still could be possible. But, you need to look at things with a different viewpoint sometimes. You need to let somebody explain yourselves and hear where they're coming from before you make a decision or a conclusion, because I've had people before get up with me and they're like, hey, you work at a cookie factory, watch this video, what's your thoughts on it? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to give you my thoughts on that video because I did not see what happened prior to what was recorded or what happened after it was recorded. So I'm not going to second guess anyone. And that's the way I look at, talking to people about, their encounters and experiences. And, I just love doing research, on the unexplained. And, we're growing leaps and bounds. What do you think, Dirty Dan?
How the heck am I supposed to follow up with a novelty answer like that? Good Lord.
I don't know, man.
As I said, I would love to have him on as an unfiltered, explicit, raw guest. Just let him actually get off his chest what he wants to get off his chest. And I can listen to them guys talk all day long.
Oh yeah. Accent. Yeah. I'm the exact same way.
Fantastic to listen to. But and like what Seth said, like I did my own research.
You mean Simon said
what Simon said.
Yeah.
Simon says I'm a DA. That he is credible and he's not gaining any money from it. He's being attacked on a personal level by it, but the guy's got the scars to show it.
Yes,
like you could see the flash burn all on him. And, I don't know anybody, as a former first responder, like I've had some flashes on me and they did not leave me looking like that. I've been steamed to heck and back. And did not look like that. Like that's some legitimate. Either that or the guy's an Academy Award winning masochist.
Yeah.
One of the two. I don't get a sense of it being like that though.
Right.
And just watching the gears turn when he is having when he was recalling it and telling us about some of it, and then like seeing on the gearhead level, just seeing the passion come about his motorbikes and getting to go faster and enjoying them, and then having it ruined by this event and just getting drugged through the mud 10 times over from everything that happened from it. Like, I feel for the guy.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, excellent guest. Can't wait to talk to him more and interview with him more. And I look forward to everything he has to say.
Yes. Same here. Well, we're going to step away and take a break real quick. And when we come back, Simon is going to tell us what are you going to tell? You got a Perry County, Kentucky UFO story
from the 1960s. Yes, sir.
That you're going to tell us about.
Is that the one from 63?
I think so. It's from Combs. Yeah, right in the Hazard and Combs area. Yeah.
And that is cool. Dirtydan, what are you going to tell us about when we come back from break?
Oh, an ex-CIA officer that had an alien encounter.
Oh, really? Oh, Well, I wonder why that's not made public.
And it was only published today.
Really? Okay. Well, see, yours is fresher than mine, because mine, my friend, that I'm holding in here, mine are like a week or so old. But you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We're going to take a break, and then you will hear the mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and David, and we'll come back with segment 2. You're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Elliot from the Spooky Family Podcast, and I want to remind you that our buddy, the Paranormal Trucker, has a brand new podcast out. Yes, you can catch the Paranormal Trucker and his crew, Snowman and Large Marge, anytime on YouTube.
They're going to bring you spooky tales from the road, ghost stories, updates on new tech, conspiracy theories, and everyone's open road favorite, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
Welcome to the mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and David. How are you doing tonight, David?
Doing great, Seth.
Yes, sir, man. And we got a very interesting story out of Woodstock, Georgia. And this was March the 12th of 2021.
Oh.
I saw 2 driver cars in front of me pointing to the sky at a stoplight. When the light turned green, I stuck my iPhone out the window and just started taking pictures. I have a picture where it's really not visible, but yet when I zoomed in into the pictures, I spotted a small black triangular object, then zoomed in further, and I had 3 shots from far away, then halfway, then as close as I can zoom into it. I was in the Navy for 24 years and never saw anything like this before. And this is a story from MUFON.
That's pretty cool. There is triangle shapes again. Those are those spacecraft, aircraft, whatever, UFOs. They're getting more and more popular, it seems. A Navy guy, he's going to obviously know it's not a regular plane. It sounds real similar to the Phoenix lights, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wish that I could show the people the pictures and stuff. It's
Right.
Pretty cool, man, looking at these pictures of the object, of the UFO. Definitely, it doesn't look like anything that I've ever seen before. Like,
Yeah, I think there's
anything from our country, yeah.
Right. I think there's really something peculiar about these triangle shaped aircraft. These things are been sighted all over the place in different sizes, but most of the sizes that I've heard are very, very big. It's really strange and something I definitely look into. Just can't find any answers, other than being an actual UFO.
Yep, definitely. I mean, maybe our government has the technology and they're just not telling us, or
The government definitely has a lot of technology they don't tell us about. So, have you heard of the Aurora program?
what's that?
It's a special airplane that can supposedly fly more than 5 times the speed of sound.
Wow.
And supposedly we already have this, and that's something we can talk about on another time, but look into it. Very cool. It's called the Aurora Project.
Is America the only country that has this?
Who knows, but that's the way it leans, that it's even a myth that America even has it. It's one of those things that isn't brought out into the public. It's people have claimed to have seen it, claimed to have seen their vapor trails out the back when they're actually flying. I guess the vapor trail actually looks like a bunch of donuts on a string. You can look that up too. It's very, very interesting on that part of it. Would suggest some kind of pulse type engine. But 5 times the speed of sound, that's insane. That's faster, way faster than anything else we got.
Yeah, definitely, man. And definitely some stuff that you definitely want to see in real life. Definitely, I want to see it.
Yeah, no kidding. Aircraft has always fascinated me since I was a kid. I actually wanted to be a Navy fighter pilot and an astronaut when I was little, but got some bad eyesight along the way, a couple accidents, and ended that. But the stuff still fascinates me to see what's flying in our skies that's not ours.
Also, do you think that is a credible story? And what makes it credible to me is this guy was in the Navy for 24 years, and he knows crafts pretty good.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, anytime I think most of the time when you get a military personnel type person that's involved in aircraft and whatnot, they've seen it all as far as what is not top secret, I guess. But yeah, I think you get a lot of credibility with a Navy guy that's been in the Navy that long, and what reason would he have to tell us, to make up a story? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. So I find it really credible when a military person comes to me with a story, for sure.
Definitely, man. And where can people find We Are Legend Hunters on Facebook and stuff?
Just at We Are Legend Hunters on Facebook, and you can actually send us a story if you like at wearelegendhunters@gmail.com.
Absolutely, man. This has been the Mysterious Appalachian Mountains with Seth and David. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.
Yesterday I looked into the sky. I saw a free bird, a flying high. I wish I could turn that clock back in time, but God's got his reasons.
Listen to Here at Your Bubblegum with Goose, Dirtydan, and me, Simon. Simon says, let's get back to the show.
Oh, that was very nice, Simon. Very professional. A lot more professional than me. So, a lot more professional than Dirty Dan. So,
Anything more professional than Dirty Dan.
Dirty Dan, the barbecue man.
Listen, I don't know professional. I just know Dirty Dan and that sensual, sultry voice.
Oh, okay. All right, Simon, you're going to tell us about a Prairie County UFO story that took place in the 60s, correct?
Yes, sir. And I'm getting this from WSGS. And this was in February the 6th of 1967. A UFO was seen in Perry County, according to several hazard policemen. A woman called law enforcement claiming she had seen a brightly lit object on a hill above Combs, Kentucky. Hazard, Kentucky policeman Bucky Reynolds. I'm not gonna. Yeah. Okay. And A.C. Pratt and Austin Smith responded to the scene. All said they saw the unidentified flying object. Captain Jerry Feltner of the Perry County Rescue Squad said that he was called by city police, but did not respond until a second call was made. I thought it was a joke of some kind, said Feltner, but I saw the object flying for myself. When I got there, Sergeant Smith got the best view of the crash and described the situation to the police headquarters. I saw some blue-looking lights on the hill and some red flashing lights on it. The object made a roaring sound, and it was real loud on the ground. The federal agency in Louisville was notified of the strange happening. This event is still talked about today by those who was there. What do you think?
No, I had a friend of the show, Justin Perkins, messaged me that earlier today, and I went and read through it, and he told me to go back and check out the comments. I've not had time to do that, but I'm definitely going to do that. I had never heard of the Perry County, Kentucky UFO story. You know, I mean, that happened, what did you say? It happened 1967?
Yes, February the 6th.
So, you know, I'm definitely going to have to check that out because 67, I didn't come along until 7 years later. So, and yes, guys, I am old because I know you two are both a lot. You all come along longer after that. But I'm definitely going to have to go check that out.
The comments are interesting for sure.
Well,
somebody in the comments in the 80s seen a light hovering over the sky in Dayton, Ohio.
Was it around the same time period and so forth?
No, it was in the 1980s. It was at Wright-Patterson FAB.
Okay. You know what you know what FAB is, don't you? That's the Air Force Base. You sure it wasn't AFB?
Yeah, it's AFB.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, see, I was either going to say it was FAB or a solar flare, one or the other.
Well, like a solar flare, we're not out.
Oh, Dirty Dan, ex-CIA agent, alien encounter. I'm looking forward to hearing this. Drop it like it's hot, my friend.
Drop it like it's hot. There is a whole other reality that surrounds us. The link between CIA and UFO mysteries dated back all the way to 1947. And since then, many CIA officials and the ex-U.S. military personnel propelled ufology by giving shocking statements. The former CIA and U.S. military officials such as R. James Woolsey, Daryl Sims, Lou Elzanato, David Fravor, etc., described how the existence of reality all around us that we are unable to perceive could be a major aspect of the UFO phenomenon. Recently, two veteran CIA officers, Jim Semivan and John Ramirez, who have expressed personal interest in UFO and UAP issues and cases, joined the George Knapp Show to discuss the CIA's role in the study of UFOs and their own experiences. Now, Jim Semivan spent 25 years with the CIA and then joined other former government insiders as part of Tom DeLonge's To the Stars Academy. He detailed how he was inducted to the CIA and learned spycraft, which takes years to master. The CIA works on a quote-unquote need-to-know principle. So when it came to UFOs, Semivan was not made specifically aware of research on this topic, though CIA analyst Kit Green was known for pursuing the paranormal. On Coast to Coast AM, Semivan described his own alien-type encounters that occurred to him and his wife starting in 1990, in which beings showed up in their bedroom. The incident was authentic and not a hypnagogic or dream state, he stipulated. The couple subsequently observed on and off poltergeist activity in their home, and more recently, he said he saw a hooded figure that resembled the Death Eater character from Harry Potter, who perhaps materialized to herald the death excuse me,
Your
of a
excuse.
close friend. Thank you.
Please continue.
Semivan said he concurs with a remark made by Skinwalker Ranch researcher Colm Keller that the UFO phenomenon is a lot more than nuts and bolts and machines, as there are also psychic and biological elements that ratchet up the high strangeness. To the Stars investigation of metamaterials with odd isotopic ratios, possibly associated with UFOs, was ongoing, he added. In the first half, he's quoted saying, "I think they mentioned that the phenomenon is a natural part of our universe, and we're living in it, but we don't recognize it. The same way that insects and animals don't recognize the human universe. A cat and a dog could be running through a library, but they don't have the faintest idea of what the books are all about and what our libraries are all about. We might be walking through our existence, and there's a whole other reality that surrounds us and that we just simply don't have the ability to see or interact with. It seems to be peeking inside our little consensus reel. As I explained to somebody once, it comes close. It teases us, it cajoles us, it lies to us, but you can never take it home to meet the parents. It won't allow you to do that. There's no formal introduction, and add on top that there's no ontology, which is just a fancy word, but basically means there's no structure to even discuss this. We don't have a common lexicon. Somebody said we have dots but no connections. I don't even think we have the dots. As Mr. Ramirez was a 25-year CIA vet who specialized in ballistic missile defense systems, was featured in the latter half of the interview. He recalled his long-standing interest in spycraft and how he shifted from being a Navy officer into the CIA in 1984. He compared intel gathering to being a journalist for a news service, though his sources for reports were typically clandestine. Like Semivan, he also experienced what might be considered alien abduction type experiences, including being placed on an exam table in a circular craft. Interestingly enough, a number of his counterparts in the CIA and NSA also have had UFO experiences, he revealed. In his job related to missile defense, he became aware of times when Russian radar would detect unusual craft, and in one instance, he said they tried to lure a UAP into landing. Ramirez noted that CIA historian Gerald Haynes wrote about the agency's study of UFOs from 1947 through the 90s for a division that was initially called Office of Scientific Intelligence. What was particularly intriguing to Ramirez was that that division had life sciences and medical people on its staff, indicating possible interest in alien bodies. He also described how an Air Force pilot on the plane that flew near Kamacha to monitor Russian tests observed a massive milky white wall of light flying toward him at about 6,200 miles an hour. Though the Air Force assumed it was some kind of countermeasure by the Russians regarding the military sightings of transmedium UAP like the Tic Tacs, Ramirez said he does not believe that Russia or any other foreign country, nor us, has the capabilities to produce this kind of anti-gravity technology. Liu made these points in several interviews, but in this one, he was asked to elaborate on his comments about how our senses are reductive and limit our reality. He replied with, "This is something that we've been dealing with for a long time. Imagine the first person to get on a boat and sail over the horizon. There's stories of sea monsters and krakens that will devour you and destroy your boat. Yet, we did it anyways. We did sail, and we explored the world. It turns out, 500 years later, there really are sea monsters. We call them the great squid of the Pacific and great white sharks and whales. Now they're just part of nature and have a scientific name, but those sea monsters still exist. They're there. We just learned to understand them. I think it's the same thing. This is just another expedition over the horizon, and when we're going to realize what we thought were monsters are really just neighbors." Interestingly, Gary Nolan, Lou Elzanato, Tom DeLonge, and Jacques Vallée say similar things when it comes to the reality of the phenomenon.
I always like George Knapp. He does a really good job. When he fills in on Coast to Coast and with his website, I can't remember the name of the website. I go to it, mysterywire.com. Yes. He does a really good job with that. We've got a few minutes before let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about the 1948 Aztec UFO crash. And I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but by request, we have a classic Elliot's Articles, and in this episode, he talks about Roswell. This is part 1, and we'll also have part 2 next week. So right now, we're going straight to a classic Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum.
Researching the inner workings of the net to bring you stories of the strange and unusual. It's Elliot's Articles on Here to Chew Bubblegum. Take it away, Elliot.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be listening. This is Elliot with another Elliot's Articles on the Here to Chew Bubblegum podcast. This week, by listener request, we take a look at the Roswell incident. On the night of July 4th, 1947, an incident occurred in an area known as Corona, New Mexico. The incident was announced to the public by the U.S. military in a newspaper article that declared RAAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. The next day it was denied by the U.S. military and has remained a clouded piece of American history ever since. Now, while the incident did take place in Corona, which is located in Lincoln County, New Mexico, it was reported in Roswell, New Mexico, located in Chaves County. This is where the story takes its name. The event took place, as I stated earlier, during the first week of July 1947 and involved the recovery of wreckage by the military from a remote ranch northwest of Roswell, New Mexico. The timeline for the first 2 weeks, according to unidentifiedflyingobjects.com, is something like this. On Tuesday, July 1st, 1947, a strange object is detected on the radar scopes at Roswell, New Mexico, White Sands, and Alamogordo. Its tremendous speed and erratic motion indicated that it is neither a plane nor a meteorite. On July 2nd, an oval object is spotted by Mr. and Mrs. Dan Wilmot as it passes over their house in Roswell, New Mexico. On July 3rd, radar operator Steve McKenzie is sent to White Sands to track the object 24 hours a day. July 4th rolls around, and Warrant Officer Robert Thomas and a team of men arrive from Washington to coordinate an operation of tracking and possible retrieval. Mac Brazel, who's going to be very important to the story, as well as others, report hearing a tremendous explosion. William Woody and his father observe a flaming object fall to earth north of Roswell. Jim Ragsdale and Trudy Truelove observe a bright light crash near their campsite. The object, which has been tracked on radar for 3 days, suddenly disappears. The retrieval team assemble and start heading for the calculated crash site. On Saturday, July 5th, a sheep herder who remains nameless finds the remains of a crashed saucer but does not report this until many, many years later. A group of archaeologists also find the crashed object. They phone Sheriff George Wilcox, thinking it's some sort of crashed aircraft. Wilcox then informs the local fire department, who arrive at the scene shortly afterwards. The special retrieval team locates the crashed craft, takes the names of all the civilians on site, and then escorts them away. The site is cleaned and secured within 6 hours, and 5 bodies are removed. Mac Brazel finds strange debris in his field. The debris consists of strange foil-like substance, balsa wood-like beams, and a strange sort of string. None of Brazel's sheep will go anywhere near the debris. Lydia Sleppy, a reporter for KSWS, a local radio station, tries to send the first unconfirmed reports of the crash over the teletype. The message is intercepted by the FBI or some government agency, who order her to cease transmission due to national security concerns. Melvin Brown, who was one of the guards in the truck transporting the bodies, claims that they were small with large heads and that their skin was an orange-yellow color. Glenn Davis is called by the Roswell mortuary officer and is asked several questions relating to preserving bodies, making small caskets, and how to treat bodies that had been exposed to the sun. Glenn Dennis was over the local mortuary. Dennis is later summoned to the base to treat an injured pilot. While he is there, he sees several ambulances and some wreckage. Dennis is then threatened by 2 officers who warn him not to report anything he has witnessed. Mac Brazel returned to the debris site and picks up some of the stuff and takes it to his neighbors, Floyd and Loretta Proctor. They suggest that he informs the sheriff. On Sunday, July 6th, Brazel drives 75 miles into Roswell and shows some of the debris to Sheriff Wilcox, who in turn informs the military. Wilcox then sends 2 of his deputies to the ranch. William Woody and his father try to get close to the site where they saw the strange object crash. However, they're stopped by military presence who refuse them entry. Colonel William Blanchard, commanding officer of the 509th Bomb Group, sends Jesse A. Marcel out to the sheriff's office to investigate the reported debris. There, Marcel meets with Brazel, and after seeing the debris, decides to go to the debris field. He is accompanied by Captain Sheridan Cavett and Mac Brazel. Blanchard then orders that all debris at the sheriff's office be sealed and flown to Fort Worth Army Airfield, where it is given to Colonel Thomas DuBose. An interesting side note on the 509th is that they were the group that did the atomic bombing on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. Marcel and Cavett arrive too late at night to see the debris field, so they spend the night with Brazel and his family. They also get a chance to observe some of the debris that Brazel had brought back with them. Neither of them had seen anything like it. It would not burn or scratch, yet when held in the hand it felt weightless. Several pieces of the foil-like substance, when crumpled into a ball, would return to its original shape when released. On Monday, July 7th, some of the debris and bodies from the main crash site are sent to Andrews Air Force Field. Brazel, Marcel, and Cavett arrive at the debris field. It is 3/4 of a mile long and 300 feet wide. They spend the day loading as much of the debris as possible into Marcel's car and then drive back to Roswell. General Nathan Twining, Air Material Command Commander, suddenly changes his current engagements and flies out to Alamogordo. Rumors start spreading around at Roswell Base that a flying saucer has been retrieved. On Tuesday, July 8th, Marcel decides to show his family some of the debris that he's recovered before the debris becomes classified. He tells his son that it's part of a flying saucer. Marcel and Cavett meet with Colonel Blanchard to report what they had seen. As a result, Blanchard orders that the guards be placed around the debris field and to stop anyone trying to obtain access. Brazel, who spends the previous night at Walt Whitmore's, the person at KGFL Radio's house, is interviewed by him and wire recorded. Whitmore is then informed from Washington not to air the interview with Brazel due to, once again, national security concerns. Brigadier General Roger Ramey orders Blanchard to send Marcel to Fort Worth. Mac Brazel is interviewed by military personnel. This interview is going to last several days, and he's taken into custody. Lieutenant Walter Halt finishes the press release that Colonel Blanchard had authorized. He gives copies to both radio and newspapers. The story is released and claims that the Army Air Force have announced that a flying disc has been found. Within a couple of hours, the base is flooded with calls from around the world. Marcel arrives at Fort Worth and meets with General Ramey. Marcel shows Ramey the debris, who then takes Marcel into the map room so that he can show him the location of the debris site. When Marcel returns, the debris that he had brought in was gone. It had been replaced by bits of an old weather balloon. Ramey then orders that the real wreckage be sent to Wright Field in Dayton, Ohio. The military cleaned the debris site back on Brazel's ranch and transport all the debris to Wright Field. A press conference is held in which Warrant Officer Irving Newton identifies the debris as that of a balloon. Marcel is ordered not to say anything, and Ramey confirms that the men at Roswell had simply made a mistake. Marcel is then ordered to be photographed with the balloon debris. Interest in the story dies down due to the fact that the debris had been identified as of a weather balloon. On Wednesday, July 9th, Brazel's field is completely cleaned of the debris. The remaining debris is sent to Los Alamos via Kirtland Air Force Base. Brazel is seen by friends as he's escorted from the Air Force Base into town. They report that he looked very shocked and stressed. Brazel remarks to a friend, Frank Joyce, that he has to change his story to protect his family. Halt's press conference is confiscated by military personnel. Many ground personnel at Wright Field claims to see strange debris being unloaded from unmarked planes. Others report seeing bodies at the Andrews Air Force Base. Marcel meets up with Sheridan Cavett, who now claims that he never went with Marcel to the debris field on Brazel's ranch. On Thursday, July 10th, 1947, Sheriff Wilcox calls on Glenn Dennis's father and informs him that his son is in trouble with the military and advises him to talk to Glenn to make sure that he remains silent. Further balloon explanations are reported in the local newspapers. On Friday, July 11th, Glenn Dennis tries to contact a nurse who had told him that she had helped in one of the autopsies of the bodies. However, when he phones the base, he's informed that no one knows where she is. All military personnel involved in the retrieval and cleanup operation are debriefed and told to forget that it ever happened. Military police also start visiting the civilians who were on the side of the main crash. They are warned not to say anything, or they and their families will go missing. Now, this is an interesting story because it reminds me of the Men in Black. There's actually a story of a little girl who held a piece of the debris in her hand, and one of the quote-unquote military police, who weren't dressed like military police, stood on her front porch with a baseball bat in his hand and said that to forget what she knew, because in the desert, little girls go missing all the time. Now, whether that really happened or not, who knows, but I'm just saying that does sound like something that we had covered in the Men in Black episodes. On Saturday, July 12th, 1947, Mac Brazel's son Bill turns up at the ranch to help out while Mac Brazel is still being held under military guard. And on Tuesday, July 15th, Mac Brazel is finally released. All he says is that the military kept asking the same questions over and over again. Brazel revealed that he had to take an oath never to say what he saw. Now, no matter what happened during that 2-week period in New Mexico, it ignited a need in many people to seek out the unknown and to look into the mysteries of our universe. If you want to do some deep diving on this topic yourself, I would recommend the following books: The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip J. Corso, Crash at Corona by Don Berliner, or Witness to Roswell by Thomas J. Carey. Any of those books have great information in them that you can look up yourself. Next week, we will look at government explanations of these events and why or why not they may be true. Once again, dear listeners, please feel free to write in and let me know what you want me to cover. You can do that at heretotruebubblegum.yahoo.com. Just put "Attention Elliot" in the subject line. Thanks for listening, guys. And once again, Elliot out.
Are you a horror movie fan? Yeah, I dig horror movies. Are you searching for a great internet horror talk radio show to listen to? Why, sure, that sounds quite spiffy. Then you need to tune into deadpit.com. It's the original horror talk radio show. Dead Pit is a show by the fans and for the fans. Uncensored and unbiased opinions are the goal of the show, giving fans honest reviews on new films and vintage classics of the horror genre. Make deadpit.com your #1 horror station destination.
Take a lighter look into the darker side of the world. Join Elliot, Gertie, and Beagle as they jump into the dark abyss of hauntings, fables, UFOs, and beyond. The Spooky Family Podcast. You can find them where you listen to quality podcasts.
One, two, three, and a four, and a... We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
From the heart of Appalachia, located under a shopping mall near the city that moves mountains, you're listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum with Goose and Dirtydan.
Welcome back to Here to Chew Bubblegum with your favorite hosts, Goose, Dirtydan, and Simon.
That was very good. That was excellent. That was excellent. I hope you guys enjoyed, by request, a classic episode of Elliot's Articles where he talks about Roswell. That's one of my favorite episodes of Elliot's Articles. Before we start closing things out, I want to tell you guys about the 1948 Aztec UFO crash. The 1950 controversial author Frank Scully released a book, Behind the Flying Saucers. This effort, written during the beginnings of UFO awareness in the United States, was considered to contain fabricated accounts of 4 UFO crashes. That's what people say. One of the accounts covered by the alleged crash at Aztec, New Mexico in 1948, only a brief period of time, and this happened shortly after the famous Roswell incident. Scully's information came largely from the mysterious Dr. G. That's spelled G-E-E. Depending on which commentary you read, the identity of this physician is attributed to either a real doctor or a fictitious person who was composed of elements of several different witnesses. Scully described the Aztec crash as that of a craft which was measured at exactly 99.99 feet in diameter, covered by a material which resembled a lightweight, shiny metal that possessed incredible strength and durability. It seems that nothing on this earth could penetrate or damage the hull of this craft from another world. The disc-shaped craft had large metallic rings revolving around a central core, which was supposedly the control bridge of the object. The hull of the craft contained no apparent seams, rivets, or any hints of the material being pieced together. As the story continues, the investigation team gained access to the interior of the craft with the use of a long pole, which they pushed through a porthole in the saucer. A knob was engaged, which opened a previously hidden door. Once inside, the team found 16 humanoid beings, all dead, their bodies being charred from fire. The alien's height was reported to be 36 to 42 inches in height. The exterior of the craft was not damaged. The insides show that the craft was put together with a framework of grooves and pins. The craft and the alien bodies were allegedly sent to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Other supporting evidence from the Aztec crash was said to have surfaced in 1987 with one from William Steinman. But his sources were never verified, and Steinman asserted that the crash occurred March 25th, 1948, and was verified by 3 different radar stations. Steinman's account listed 14 dead aliens instead of 16. Until supporting evidence of Scully or Steinman's account can be obtained, the Aztec crash story remains an unsolved mystery. Now, this was one that we've talked about before on both shows, on the podcast and radio show. And you can do more research on that for yourself. Again, that was the 1948 Aztec UFO crash. I think this happened, and he said it happened in March 1948. I was thinking it was in sooner than that, but it may have not been. And the last name Scully, do you know where they got the character named Scully for the X-Files from Dr. Scully? From the author, Frank Scully. Correct. You are correct. So I was going to share that one with you. I always thought that was interesting. The only thing that I find strange about that story is that they used a long pole and they engaged a doorknob. I mean, you would have to be, keep in mind, this is 1948 when they did this. There's no cameras that you can push through there. You just luckily hit a doorknob that opened up a port. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. And this report could be totally real. That could totally have happened. But I just don't buy how they gained access that way.
Stranger things have happened.
That is true. That is true.
If they had a long pole and they were just shooting for something, it could have just happily hit the button as they drug it down the side of it. We don't know.
And that is true. If you had, a long enough way to look in and so forth, then that could definitely be true.
I mean, have you ever tried to use a couple coat hangers tied together to unlock your car?
I have never tried that. I have used other things to unlock cars.
Cookie factory tools.
Yes, cookie factory tools. So, Simon, had you heard about the 1948 Aztec UFO crash?
No, but definitely very interesting. Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to do some more digging on that. Dirty Dan, I guess it's time to close things out. What are you going to tell us about this week, my friend?
Well, we'll keep it short and sweet so we can get to the rest of it so far. I'm still working on. I have all the people I contacted for every time I contacted them at first, bam, right back. Oh my God, yes, please let me send you stuff. And now it's like I cannot get a hold of anybody to save my life.
Well, hey man, it happens. Don't take it personal.
Oh no, I know everybody hates me. So be sure everybody still go check out Carbon Capture Shield. That's long.carboncaptureshield.com. Get your spot today. They got some great upcoming news. Go support and spread the message and awareness at tillvalhallaproject.com. Go to YouTube, check out Adventures with Purpose, or go to the website, drop some love, adventureswithpurpose.com.
And I want to thank Carlin for all the voiceover work. And be sure to check out friends of our show that have their own shows. I'm talking about CK and Uncle Bill over at deadpit.com, the originators of podcast from East Kentucky. Theirs has been going on since 2005. Don't forget about our friend Justin Perkins with Talk Junkie, Jordan and Brad of Down on the Holler, Seth Ambergy with Seth's Daily Podcast, Elliot Gertie and Beagle of SpookyFamilyPodcast.com, the Mountain Mysteries Podcast with Chris Sloan, and don't forget to check out our buddy Cronkite, Snowman, and Large Marge over at Paranormal Trucker on YouTube. Don't forget about John Marshall, Beyond the Paranormal Podcast. With him, you can watch and listen every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., and you can find that on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and he does that live. And if you want to awaken more, be sure to check out Rebecca Short on TikTok.
17 accounts.
Yeah, you can find her. You can find her. That'll do it for this week. We'll see you next week. And until then, so long for now.
Maybe I'm not leaving. Maybe I'm just going home.
Like a solar flare. We're out.
Thanks for listening to Here to Chew Bubblegum. Tune in next time as we dive deeper into things the government doesn't want us to know.